Hello, my name is Margaritta Fultz. Adler Research Consultants, ARC, would first like to thank Fuentes Labs for selecting our organization to lead the research that we mutually hope and have planned to provide us with definitive indicators and insights on which office configuration offers optimal opportunities for enhanced employee engagement. Allow me to present to you a step-by-step plan entitled Fuentes Labs Incorporated Floor Designs for Enhanced Employee Engagement and Performance. First, ARC has completed our due diligence in reviewing the results of which our colleagues at Fuentes in IO psychology roles conducted, which captured compelling evidence. The survey results indicated that upon the onset of redesigning the office layout to an open concept, the distribution of office sounds may have increased noise distractions for the open floor concept personnel. ARC's goal, in conjunction with a well-defined, committed project team, will move forward with our deliverable being a comprehensive quantitative study to assist Fuentes in making data-driven floor plan decisions that have a high probability and propensity when factored in for sustainable workforce engagement and performance. Let's take a look at who we have on board driving for success in this effort. The ARC consultant team with 4 years of rigorous study, internships, and externships with responsibilities to organizations and society in research ethics, working with human subjects, data collection, analysis, interpretation, and reporting. The Fuentes IO Psychologist Executive Director, the Director of Facilities Management, the Associate Vice President for Fuentes Labs Operations, ad hoc assistant managers from each of your work units, advertising, and on outstanding call center, sales, project managers, distribution, logistics, and supply chain. All who are integral members of your team who drive for sustainable engagement and performance daily, as your employees have consistently reported on Indeed and LinkedIn. Fuentes Associate Chemist as a voice and an expert on lab space intelligence, and last but not least, the person who has been most instrumental and important with regard to who to ask and how to contact people. This is your Executive Suite Administrative Aide, Bobby Smith. We thank you. The resources we need to launch this experiment are 1 lux meter, 4 video cameras, and our legally reviewed and approved disclosure statements that we've gone over with your legal team. We want to make sure that everything is done in an ethical, working, operational manner with respect to human research participants. Let's talk about what the preliminary research involved. This consisted of running a two-way ANOVA using existing employee survey results to determine whether or not we could reject the null hypothesis. The variables used were IV1, open floor concept personnel, and IV2, traditional floor plan personnel. With the scale data that existed from the employee satisfaction from respondents, we're using the dependent variable 1, difficult to complete work due to distraction, and Dependent variable 2, not difficult to complete work. If we can establish on the front end of research that the F statistic is large enough, we can move forward with additional data collection based on human resource record data. And the documentation our team will collect from our observations in both settings to identify other significant interactions to include in repeated measures ANOVA. Here's the intelligence we already have that guided our quantitative research design. The narrative that surfaced from the employee satisfaction results indicated unwanted distractions generated from excessive office noise related to the open floor concept. The discovery component and listening tour to ensure the research study is relevant and allows this collaboration to go forth seamlessly, smoothly, and to capture the data needed to make an informed decision will begin with 30-minute meetings with project team members, with no more than 4 meeting attendees for each Zoom or video conference meeting. This is to ensure that we solidify our understanding of any plausible confounding variables that should be tested. A sample size for a study of this scale and magnitude, so as not to disrupt the workflow of the Sacramento team, is 100. This represents 14% of the Fuentes Lab employees. Let's go over the process. We have conducted preliminary research using a two-way ANOVA to confirm an interaction and F statistic consistent with the open floor concept interaction with a difficulty to complete work, which is our variable representative of engagement in the preliminary phase. We have rejected the null hypothesis. The next step is to conduct repeated measures ANOVA at 3, 6, and 9-month intervals. We want to see where the data interactions are over time for the open concept and the traditional office space. Finally, we will conduct multivariate regression analysis using the original 2 independent variables and any other relevant independent variables that showed strong relationships with employee engagement and performance. We can look at enhancements to the floor, light, auditory, and other sensory stimuli that reasonably affect engagement and performance. Here, let's take a look at a few more of the details. We're going to meet with IO psychologists at Fuentes to coordinate the collaborative effort. We're going to touch base with all project team members to plan a general meeting to solidify who is on board. We're going to complete preliminary research using existing employee satisfaction data, in addition to the variables that we have identified. We'll look at some historical data in your HR system. We'll provide monthly meetings, a schedule, the format of the meetings, and the length of meetings to review and report data. We're also going to tap project members for their proxies in the event they're not available for monthly meetings, so that we always have reliable staff available to conduct this experiment. This primary component of the research will be based on videotaped, audio recorded, and staff observations to ascertain a list of interruptions we can document that halt work, pause work, that would have otherwise continued without interruption. We will be observing the same work behaviors in both settings in a non-intrusive manner, consistent with reviewing the video, delivering mail, observing unit operation meetings and briefings, and looking at unit supervisors as separate personnel from the general population. As Fuentes personnel who are working in external modes will not have either of the treatments, the open concept or the traditional office space, we will treat the remote worker group as the control group. There are plausible confounding variables to consider: light, employees who use earphones to serve as noise cancellation, and standing workstations that allow for employees to shift their weight more frequently, which changes the whole physiology and ergonomics related to employee engagement, productivity, and performance. Our planned ways to solve for confounding variables is to ensure that lighting has been metered using a lux meter for each treatment as equal, optimal, and appropriate for all observation areas. The same should be consistent for earphone usage and the distribution of standing workstations, such that any confounding variables are relatively equal for each dependent variable to eliminate the confounding effect. Keeping with the timeline of 12 months with deliverables every 3 months to mediate any indicators to modify or amend the research design to ensure valid and reliable results. Here's a brief overview to provide you with the ebb and flow. At 3 months, the study is focused on 2 floor plans and employee engagement. At 6 months, the study is focused on the 2 floor plans with respect to employee engagement, and the Adler research consultants are meticulous to see how the detail is holding up since the 3-month observations were analyzed for interactions. At 9 months, the study is focused on the 2 floor plans and employee engagement just as we were at 6 months, and based on what we are able to identify as additional factors, we'll conduct subsequent regression analysis at month 12 using the open floor concept, the traditional office setup, and any significant variables to ascertain if there are correlations that explain a significant percentage of employee engagement. Not difficult to complete work. Again, we thank you for entrusting Adler Research Consultants to involve ourselves in this iterative, deliberate, and meticulous process in which we discovered in the beginning the possibility of the open floor concept being detrimental to your team's propensity to fully engage with their work roles and responsibilities that render appropriate performance. Our plan is to implement the strategic actions we have presented today such that Fuentes Labs Incorporated ends up with a deliverable and results that you can make a definitive decision and bank on for sustainable employee engagement and performance. We thank you for your time.